what you worship also shows your faith. So what we worship is usually a very big indicator of our faith. Faith arises from conditioning, not by belief alone. We'll explore more about that. And Krishna says how everyone has some faith. There is not a person without faith. And that's what actually makes who we are. Whatever we have faith in, that's what we become. And Krishna explains how one's worship can reveal one's faith. And he speaks about how people can utilize spirituality and harm themselves and others. He speaks about that because we are speaking about worship. He speaks how people can use these religious practices and can still make it about themselves. And then Krishna says, apart from worship, apart from religious practices, we can also look through food, sacrifice, austerity, and charity in order to scan one's faith. So we will explore that. So why is Krishna explaining this chapter, or why are these verses? Because Krishna wants to explain that how sincere faith can also be misplaced. People can be sincere. That does not mean it's okay. A lot of people are sincere, they say, right? What is that quote? The path to hell is also paved with sincere intention, something like that. So we could have sincere faith. Somebody may be very sincere in their faith, but that does not mean it's okay. And that's why Krishna speaks how faith is shaped by the three modes, not just by we believe. I may claim I'm a devotee of Krishna, but I have to look at my life, how I live, what kind of modes I actually are influenced by. That is my current level. I have to go from there to what I actually claim. I cannot assume just because I'm a doer, I've become affiliated with an organization and with a group of people, and some of those people may be really advanced. That does not mean I'm also as advanced as what I claim to or what I am attached to, who I associate with. Yes, I'll be influenced by the association, but I'm not just by my affiliation. My faith cannot be elevated. I have to do the hard work of transforming myself. And how to recognize faith through behavior, not just labels. He's Christian, he's Muslim, he is atheist, he is Buddhist, he is an ISKCON follower, he is a Swaminarayan follower, he is a Hindu, he is a Jain, he is a Zoroastrian, he is a Jewish, he is agnostic. So we have so many labels. But how to recognize faith beyond these labels through one's behavior, and why faith must be guided and purified to become uplifting. Affiliation alone is not enough. We have to do the hard work to actually purify our current level of faith and become uplifted. So that's why Krishna is teaching not just this verses, but 1 to 7, but the whole chapter. This is more about the whole chapter. And this chapter shows that faith is not just an idea in our heads. What do you believe in? I believe in God, but I act as if no God exists. I live as if no God exists. So that's where our current faith is. Yes, we have a belief, but our actions are not not aligned with our belief. So we need to become aware of that. We need to become honest about it. Most people say, would you like to, especially in social gatherings, what I observe is people speak about how they eat very healthy, what kind of amazing routines they have, how they're very particular about drinking the CFC tea every morning, or like they do a particular soup every evening, or like how they're very particular about this and that. But actually, you go into private spaces, people are like pushing in pizzas and all kinds of things. But when we present, we really want to be healthy. It's not that we are like kind of hypocrites. We just really want to be healthy. And when we speak to other people, we speak about night routines and day routines and sleep routines and specific teas that we drink, all kinds of things I see. But actually, when you see their lives, some percentage they try to do, but it's not exactly all the time. So it's not that we are hypocrites. We believe that health is really important and I should live healthy and I should have a regulated lifestyle. I should watch what I drink and I want to act like how, what is Divya's book's name? What you eat to how you feel. So we all believe in that, that I want to eat so that I can actually feel better. But when it comes to real life, we are being pulled and pushed by our desires. So what we do, we tell the world a story and we go back and live how what our mind says. And after a while, we actually lose faith in ourselves that we can actually transform. So we think it's much comfortable to actually tell the world a story and I can just be who I am. And when the cover is blown, then it becomes too, people just run away because they have been exposed. So they just completely stay away from that group or from that association. So what we have to do is, we are neither hypocrites nor are we perfect. We have to realize, I believe and that health is important, healthy living is important, mode of goodness is important. Currently I'm not there. So you make a plan to go there. Start small and be honest, be authentic. That will actually get us eventually where we want to be. Instead of just telling others stories and in turn fooling ourselves. So we tell stories not just to ourselves, to others. And the story we tell others eventually become the stories that we tell ourselves. So we're not just fooling others, we fool ourselves. We keep repeating the lie again to ourselves and we start assuming we have become a person who's healthy conscious. But on the ground level, we are very far away from that. But we don't want to accept it. We keep telling ourselves, actually, I'm a very healthy person. Actually, I'm a very health conscious person. But look at your choices. Look at your choices. So what happens is, we actually, as a society, tell lies to each other and tell lies to ourselves. So if we really want to transform, we have to stop telling lies to ourselves. And we have to be kind to ourselves. Okay, Gaurasharan, I understand you're not perfect. I understand you're not perfect, but don't be a hypocrite. Make a system to go where you want to go. Let's take one step forward together in the right direction. So be kind to yourself, be supportive to yourself, but be accountable, be disciplined. Hold yourself accountable, hold your mind accountable. Otherwise, self love would dissolve into, again, debauchery, hypocrite. Self love should not turn us into a hypocrite. Self love should turn us into an authentic and an transformed person, a spiritually transformed person. So, self love should never lead us to hypocrisy. Self love should actually help us become spiritually transformed, authentic, and honest. So that is why this chapter is very important. This chapter is not about just claiming labels. Ah, I'm an ISKCON follower, I'm a Hare Krishna. Become really that. Don't just claim affiliation. We don't become anyone just by becoming affiliated to a group. That is the essence of this particular chapter. So chapter 7 turns faith into a mirror. We usually use faith as a lens, or our faith as a lens to measure others. We make it into a microscope and observe others. We make it into a lens and just see others through it, judge others through it. So no, faith is not a lens to judge others. Faith is a mirror to see who we are and who are we becoming. So this chapter is not a lens to measure others or judge others. This chapter is a mirror to look at our own selves. So when I speak, I will speak like a lens, but you use it as a mirror. So as a teacher, I will present it as a lens. I will look at the society, I'll look at myself, I'll look at others, and I'll present it as a lens. But please don't use it as a lens to actually judge others. Use it as a mirror to look at yourself. And personally, I am also trying to use it as a mirror to look at myself. But when I'm teaching, I will teach it as a lens for us to actually look through. It's not for looking through looking at others, it's for looking at our own selves. So that's why this chapter is very important. It's coming towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita because Krishna has spoken a lot. So we may just assume we have become a very intellectual, very intelligent person who had a journey through Gita. But the journey is not just like cruising through in a speedboat. This journey is to deep dive and go in and pick up the pearls from this book of wisdom. It's like an ocean. If we just hover on the surface of the ocean, we will only catch fishes. But if you go deep into the ocean, you will get pearls, corals, and all these things. Probably today, if you just hover on the top of the ocean, you will get plastics, maybe fishes, but for sure plastics. So this chapter is actually asking us to go deep. And good conduct can elevate life, but only surrender can liberate it. So all of us, when we experience hypocrisy in spiritual life, we think it's better to be a good person than to be a hypocrite spiritualist. So then people even abandon spiritual life thinking, all these people are hypocrites. So it's better to be a good person than to be a hypocrite. So what they are missing is just good conduct alone, it will not liberate. And surely a hypocrite is not getting liberated anyway. So both are required. We have to be good and we have to be spiritual. They are not mutually exclusive. Krishna is not asking us to be good at the cost of being spiritual, or he is not asking us to be spiritual at the cost of being a good person. Be a good person and be a good spiritual person. So combine both. Have character and philosophy. Have character and also transcendence together. Bring both together. Bridge the gap. We are all not perfect. We are very fortunate to have come across this philosophy that can actually guide us and give us connection to Krishna. It is Prabhupada's mercy. So we have received a very important gift. However, it's if I gift you, say, a kettle. Oh, it's winter, so here is your gift. Have a kettle. So if you just have a kettle, it's not going to change anything. You have to make tea with it. Of course, caffeine free. So make some tea, make something warm to actually develop, like retain heat in your body. So Prabhupada has given us the philosophy. But if we won't actually have good conduct, then we will squander this opportunity. So what Krishna is saying is bridge the gap. We are not perfect. We have a philosophical understanding. Our conduct is not yet completely in line. So gradually elevate it. Be honest, be self-aware, be kind to yourself, but don't be complacent or be a hypocrite. Be accountable to yourself and make a plan to actually become a good devotee. So here we are in the first verse. So Krishna is speaking about, Arjuna is asking about non-scriptural faith. So let me pull out the verse and recite it. Any questions or anything? This is just the introduction. I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting to give such a long introduction, but I got very inspired. So anything to share, anything to reflect, please. I would like to hear some voices. What caught your attention? What stood out? Yes, Purva.
I just wanted to know that when we're trying to adapt ourselves to all this process that you said, how do we keep ourselves from getting dejected? And yeah, can you please give some practical tips on how to not, well, the dejection is going to come, but how to still be steady in it and not to just, not to fall for
Okay.
it?
Dejection comes because we are not willing to accept reality. So the first step in transformation is to accept the reality. There is nothing wrong in being a baby in spiritual life. There is nothing wrong in not knowing everything in spiritual life, because clarity, stability, the depth in spiritual life comes with time and investment. So it's a slow journey. When you go and sit in a flight, it doesn't immediately go to the destination. There is a whole procedure of, you have to go through the security, you wait at the board for like boarding gate forever, and then people let you in by zone, and eventually you go sit in, put, if there is space for your luggage, then you're lucky, otherwise you go find wherever there is space, you put your luggage, find your seat. Hopefully it's not a middle seat, or you don't have a person whom you don't like next sitting next to you. And after that, then they'll keep make all their announcements, they will cruise through the runway and eventually take off and then reach a particular height, and then they do the same procedure while landing, and you come out, collect your baggage, finally you're in destination after so much. So all these steps are unavoidable in life. So we cannot grow immediately to the level of knowledge and information we gather from the books. So in these classes, what we are sharing is information. But if you want transformation, you have to apply yourself to the process, and the process takes time. So what you need is encouraging friends and mentors, friendly mentors, and also someone who can hold you accountable. So it's not just encouragement, it's not just discipline. They both needs to be combined very maturely. You need to be disciplined and you need to be also encouraged. So both needs to be done.
Prabhuji, I don't know. Like sometimes I feel that I'm just stagnant. Sometimes I feel that there is no progress at all, because you had mentioned once that the way we can measure our spiritual progress is when our material desires, like, they go on diminishing slowly. But I don't know. I don't feel.
Slowly.
Yes, you
Slowly.
had said slowly. But yes, and I know I should be patient. But most of the times I feel that I'm not making any progress and that I'm just stagnant.
Again, the thing is, you have to look from where you started and how far you have come. Be grateful for already what you have. That's what again I'm saying. If we are not grateful for what we have already achieved, and if we cannot actually offer it back to Krishna and be very grateful about it and thank, yes, have you made any is there any change at all in your life?
Yes.
Yes. So how grateful are you? How much you have expressed gratitude to Krishna? How much you actually think about how much you have changed and how that change came about? How did that change happen?
Yes, I do thank Krishna for that. It's just that
Is
I'm
it's
too
not an
hard
empty thanking. Does it touch your heart? Do you become really overwhelmed? Do you have tears in your eyes? Is that overwhelms you?
sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah, because so we are not really grateful. Gratitude is not like a simple thing of, oh, thank you, or writing in a journal some empty words. No, gratitude is a deep feeling. And also, we have to accept where we are and be grateful for what we have already achieved, and be very patient and confident that whatever has helped me grow this much has the ability to take me further. So we are like little babies. We are like really little babies. So it takes time. So you will not achieve anything by getting dejected. Dejection is your mind's trick that it wants to be in control. It's the trick of the ego that it wants to wants everything happen according to its plan. I should be spiritually advanced today and now, and I'm not. So why things are not in my control? That means nothing will work according to my plan. So that means, so our ego actually takes us for a trip in the name of actually spiritually wanting to be advanced. So first, accept that it will be a slow process, and there is nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong, because nothing worthwhile comes overnight. Is fast food actually healthy? No. Does good food actually take effort? Yes. So growth always takes time. Ask any parent in this call, how much energy does it take to actually raise a child? Do they grow up overnight? No. They don't even grow up after becoming coming of age. That's the reality. You continue to parent and worry about them even after they actually they grow up. They think they are grown-ups, but as a parent, you never grow up in the eyes of your parent. As it So it takes time, it takes effort. So we are babies, we are raising ourselves in spiritual life. So that is even more difficult. To parent another person is a different thing. But we have to do self-parenting in spiritual life. You can take guidance, you can take mentorship. However, we also have to learn to become our own parents in spiritual life. So self-parenting is a hard thing. So it takes a lot of energy. So I'm not sure if I answered you or chastised you. Please, you can be
No,
honest.
probably it's fine. I get what you're saying. It's just that it's difficult to apply. I feel difficult. It's difficult for me to apply it, especially the self-parenting part. I agree with you 100%. Yeah. It's just that I was a parent to myself since childhood. It just seems it was a horrible time. It was very taxing on me, and now I have to parent myself even in spirituality. That is even more taxing, I feel. So it's just that me who is lazy and not
We are
doing.
all in certain situations which will help us actually grow. We all come with a lot of baggage from our childhood. We have unique circumstances in which we grow up. We have a unique family and dealings and all that. So all that needs to be healed also on the side. It needs to be also be you would have to forgive those people who needs to be forgiven. You would have to actually accept what needs to be accepted, that this is part of my reality. Say for example, I'm of a particular, I have certain skills and I don't have certain skills. If I sit crying about wish I was in so and I had this skill, why that person has that skill, if I just cry about it, just crying about it is not going to change. I can learn those some skills, I can improve some amount, but some things are just not there and it won't be there even if I try. What I can do is I can focus on what I have and accept this is how it's going to be. I have come with this karma for whatever I have done in the past. I may not remember. It's okay. I can still, as I said, this quote is always helpful to me to improve my mood, that I cannot go back and change the beginning of my life, but I can always start now and change how it's going to end. So it's not an empty motivation. This is reality of life. We won't be able to go back and change the circumstances in which we were born, the family in which we were born, the kind of body we received, the kind of intelligence we received, the kind of circumstances we encountered, the kind of people we had in our lives. We cannot go back and change it. It is what it is. But we can start now and we can change the beginning. So, for that, you need to have determination, because dejection is a sign of like giving up. So, have concerted effort, but a realistic effort. Don't assume anything is going to happen overnight. At the same time, if you connect with Krishna in a proper way, you will feel uplifted. You will feel uplifted. It just, the mind needs to be actually gradually disciplined. It will take time. Sometimes you can be in a phase for years. It may take like, you may feel like forever, I'll just die a bad devotee. You may feel like that sometimes because certain phases last even years. So this is not to discourage anyone or scare anyone. Nothing worthwhile comes without actually developing patience and conviction and confidence. Yes, this process works. I just have to be patient and continue to have faith in Srila Prabhupada and in Krishna. So that faith will carry us through this journey of improving ourselves. So read about Srila Prabhupada. and understand what he went through, develop faith in him as an acharya. That is also very important and helpful. Now, almost non-bargain, and it cannot, there is no bargaining there. Without that level of strong faith in one's spiritual teachers, we cannot grow through the intermediate phases of purification. That's what will carry us through, because we see how much we lack. So we don't have any confidence in ourselves. In this life, in general, we all have improved and lived and worked through life through having confidence in our own selves. Yes, I can do this, I can do this. And just through that, we push through life and somehow or other survive. But in spiritual life, just having confidence in our own selves is not enough, because we know the worst things about ourselves. The world does not know how worst we are, but we are the ones who know all the dark corners of our heart. So we don't have confidence in ourselves. So we need to have confidence not just in Krishna, but we need to have a strong faith in our spiritual teachers like Srila Prabhupada and our Guru. So that faith can actually help us navigate the dark times, the dark night of the soul. So you are walking towards light. As long as your direction is right, just have the confidence and walk ahead. Everything will be fine. Take it take a day at a time. This day, try your best. Don't worry about anything. Don't measure yourself constantly. Have I improved? Have I improved? Yes, you have to see that, but not in the sense of putting pressure on yourself and becoming dejected. Wake up, be enthusiastic, and apply yourself this day to the best of your ability. Make Give priority to your spiritual life as much as possible within your life structure. Become more disciplined. Become more sincere today. Each day, don't think, oh, I've been sincere for a year. It's another day. Just continue, because just by giving it up, you're not going to be any better. So it's a slow journey. It is not easy, but please know that Krishna is watching your struggle, and he is grateful for the efforts that you put in, and it will all be fully reciprocated 100 times fold times more than what, hundreds of times. So whatever effort you're putting, whatever confidence you're investing in Krishna, it will never go in vain. It'll never go for a waste. Does that help?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. It helps a lot.
Okay. So I do see it is closer to 10. So what we will do is we will just explore this question of Arjuna, and we will pause for today. I have another thing to go for, and I have to prepare for that also. So we will just look at this question of Arjuna. We will read the purport, we will read the verse, translation by Prabhupada, and we will discuss, and we will call it a day for today, and we will continue the rest of the verses in the coming week. So this is verse 1, where Arjuna is asking Krishna a question. Arjuna Vacha, Arjuna inquired, O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of Scripture but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance? Purport. In the fourth chapter, 39th verse, it is said that a person faithful to a particular type of worship gradually becomes elevated to the stage of knowledge and attains the highest perfectional stage of peace and prosperity. In the 16th chapter, it is concluded that one who does not follow the principles laid down in the scriptures is called an asura, a demon, and one who follows the scriptural injunctions faithfully is called a deva or demigod. Now, if one with faith follows some rules which are not mentioned in the scriptural injunctions, what is his position? Because first you said, if a person faithful to a particular type of worship, he will be elevated. But Krishna, now you're saying that faith should be scriptural, otherwise it will not work. So what about people who have faith and follow some rules but are not so scripturally grounded? What is that person's position? So this doubt of Arjuna is to be cleared by Krishna. in this chapter. Or those, so the Prabhupada is paraphrasing the question of Arjuna. He is fleshing out the question of Arjuna now. He's asking, are those who create some sort of God by selecting a human being and placing their faith in him, worshipping in goodness, passion, or ignorance? Do such persons attain the perfectional stage of life? Is it possible for them to be situated in real knowledge and elevate themselves to the highest perfectional stage? Do those who do not follow the rules and regulations of the scripture, but who have faith in something and worship gods and demigods and men, attain their success in their effort? Arjuna is putting these questions to Krishna. So, this is the purport of Srila Prabhupada. So, basically, faith can exist outside scripture. Faith can exist outside scripture. Sincerity does not guarantee correctness. So somebody is sincere, faithful, but it's not scripture. So what happens to them? So Arjuna is raising this in-between case. So Arjuna is voicing a real human dilemma that many people worship sincerely, yet not according to the scripture. Are such people elevated or misled? This question opens chapter 17 by challenging the assumption that faith and truth always align. Not necessarily. We know people who have such faith in some leaders and almost committed a genocide because they had faith in that leader. So, faith alone does not mean it's always truth and aligned with truth. So, the purport is highlighting that scripture distinguishes divine and demoniac paths. But what about faith without scriptural grounding? Can non scriptural faith still lead to perfection? So, some of the statements of Prabhupada are extracted and put here. What is Prabhupada speaking about non-scriptural faith? He asked this first question. Okay, if one with faith follows some rules which are not mentioned in the scriptural injunction, what is that person's position? And the second question is, or those who create some sort of God? If you go to India, especially, people have created so many gods. This Baba and that Baba, so many. So those who create some sort of God by selecting a human being and placing their faith in him, are they worshiping goodness or passion or ignorance? How do we know? Do such persons attain the perfectional stage of life? Is it possible for them to be situated in real knowledge and elevate themselves to the highest perfectional stage? Do those who do not follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures but have faith in something and worship gods and demigods, can men attain success in their effort? So Srila Prabhupada is basically, just to summarize the purport that we read of Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that Arjuna's doubt arises because scripture strictly classifies those who follow scriptural injunctions as divine and those who reject them as demoniac. It's very clear, black and white. So Arjuna is very concerned. Arjuna asks about people who are in the gray area, who worship with faith but outside scriptural authority. I know this is the 10th time I'm saying this, but that's what this chapter is. I'm sorry. So he wants to know whether such worship is in goodness, passion, or ignorance, and whether it can lead to real knowledge and the highest perfection. So the question is whether faith alone, without scriptural regulation, can it bring success? If I have to put the whole question of Arjuna and Prabhupada's purport is in one line, the question is, can faith alone, without scriptural regulation, bring success in one's practice? So that is the essential question. Good intentions don't guarantee good direction. So someone genuinely wants to be healthy, so they follow some random fitness influencers online. What happens? They're very sincere. It happened to me. I'm writing this from a very personal experience. I was at home in pandemic in India, and I was gaining a lot of weight. Even now the tummy has not gone what I gained in 2020. So with a lot of love, my father was feeding me and I was cooking for myself, and all we could do was just eat at home. There's nothing to do. I can watch TV. I don't watch TV. I'm not so much interested in many things. And I didn't know, I felt very trapped. And my mother had just passed away. And my father was reeling from that emotions. There's such financial mess and so many other things were there. So I didn't know what I was doing. Will I ever go back to the US? Will I be stuck in India? not a problem. I'll be happy being stuck in India. But just that I was not having a clarity. How will my life look ahead? What am I supposed to do? Should I stop being a brahmachari, stay with my father, take care of him? Or should I move to India, bring my father along and keep him in the ashram along with me in GEV? So I was just going crazy. And so all I could do was just eat. So after 2 months, I realized, oh my God, like I've just gained so much weight. I need to do some management of this. So then I looked up some video and they said, oh, if you do this, the tummy will reduce. So I went full force. Next day morning, like 2 days, I did that. 2 days, there was 3 days, and there was some pain, and that I did not understand that it is actually causing strain. Nothing. I was just like going about everything. And one day I was trying to get downstairs and I collapsed, and my knee would just not bend. I could not bend my right leg at all, but by any means. I just could not bend my leg. My knee would just not bend. And my father was freaking out. And he does not know I'm doing some exercises because I was doing it in my room. I didn't tell him at all. Like, even after my physio, I didn't tell him what happened. So suddenly my knee just would not bend. So I had to go to a doctor. It was so hard to get to a doctor in pandemic. And some or other we saw, and he asked me to go for physio every day. So it was such a ordeal to drive every day through all the restrictions of the pandemic and to find a physiotherapist who would be okay to treat you. It was a nightmare, and I had to spend a month of every single day. My whole day was just doing physio. It would take a whole day just traveling, get the physio done, come back, do the precautionary things. And after a month, I could actually start walking back. And this was just, I random saw some fitness influencer and started doing it without precaution. And it just was such a hard, it just gave me a nightmare. So people speak about extreme fasting. Another says no carbs. Another says only juices. Another says, oh, only protein. This. So it's so hard to understand. Yes, we want to be sincere. We want to sincerely improve. But just being sincere alone, disciplined alone, being committed alone does not matter anything. If you are confused and if you are not guided properly, then it can actually backfire. So faith alone, very sincere faith alone, that person is a sincere worshiper. That does not mean anything on its own. So it should be guided properly. Neither intensity nor sincerity alone is enough. It should be applied with proper guidance. Maturity has no alternative in life in general and spiritual life in particular. So thank you very much.